Take the monkey off their back. The streak is over. The Broncos beat the Chiefs, and they did it in dominating fashion. It's time to get the party started. The Broncos Postgame Show starts right now. Hello, and thank you for joining us here in the studio. I am Phil Milani alongside Nick Ferguson. We are partying right now. The Broncos win 24-9. Nick, what do you have to say?
Happy days are here again. Hey, listen, celebrate this win, but let's not get overjoyed. Going to a bye week, you still have more of the season remaining, but celebrate the win, and I know why it's a joyous occasion. After you lose to any team 16 times in a row, you want to celebrate something. So, tip of the cap for sure for Broncos country, this organization, everyone in the front office, but more importantly, the guys on the field. Phil, they got it done today, and they did it in a big fashion.
Yeah, I mean, kept the Chiefs out of the end zone. The offense was rolling with the running game. I mean, we got a lot to talk about here. 5 turnovers from Kansas City. Let's get to the highlights, show you how it happened at Empower Field at Mile High. Opening drive for the Broncos, Russell Wilson pulls everyone to one side and then goes back to Javonte Williams the other way. The 5th opening drive touchdown this season for Denver. Second quarter, Josie Jewell bangs it out of there, and Justin Simmons, thank you very much. The Chiefs turn it over 3 times in the first half. The offense strikes right away. Jerry Jeudy, what a grab, goes up for it. Good for 39 yards. 2 plays later, it's Jeudy again, this time in the corner. His first touchdown of the season, and the Broncos are up 14-9 at halftime. Same score in the fourth quarter. Another Chiefs turnover. McCole Hardman muffs the punt, and Drew Sanders, the rookie, recovers. Then 2 plays later, Russ, dancing around, finds Courtland Sutton. Sutton has turned into a touchdown machine. His 6th of the season, ties his career high, and the defense took care of the rest. On 4th down, the Chiefs looking for it all. PJ Locke there on the coverage. And then on the next KC possession, after back-to-back sacks, Justin Simmons picks off Patrick Mahomes again. 5 turnovers on the day, and the Broncos were celebrating. 24-9 the final. Let's go field level and check in with team reporters Sydney Jones and Aric DiLalla.
Thanks, Phil. Aric, the streak is over here tonight. The Denver Broncos handed Patrick Mahomes his first AFC West road loss of his career. I mean, what a night here tonight for the Broncos.
It was awesome. I mean, the atmosphere was great. The crowd was rocking there toward the end. A big incomplete chant when one of the 4th down passes fell incomplete. And it just was a great moment, I think, for this team that we've heard a lot needs to learn how to win, right? And tonight they learned how to win against arguably the best team in the AFC, the best team in the NFL. And a lot of guys, I think this shows them that if you can beat Kansas City, you can beat anybody, and you can maybe make something out of this season.
Well, Aric, we have to talk about this Denver defense. I mean, what a dominant performance by them. You know, shut down Patrick Mahomes in that offense, held them to just 9 points. 5 turnovers. I mean, you can't ask for much more there.
Yeah, the defense was really good, and I think it was both the back end where you saw Jaquan McMillan play really well, Justin Simmons, Fabian Moreau made a couple of plays, but then also up front, I thought this team did a really nice job. Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper, Nick Bonito, everybody, Baron Browning, just holding Mahomes in check and playing the run well, which was a big deal. And I think when you play the run well and you put them in 2nd and long, 3rd and long, you give yourself a chance to make plays. The Broncos made plenty of plays tonight, and let's make no mistakes that there were plenty of times, plenty of possessions where the Chiefs had a chance to go take the lead or make this a really close ball game, and the Broncos were able to do their thing and hold them in check. And so, yeah, the offense did what it needed to do, but the defense is a reason they won this football game. They played outstanding.
Yeah, they did. And looking at offense, we've heard all season long about them wanting to commit to the run game. They really did that tonight, had 153 yards on the ground versus just 87 passing.
Yeah, and they hit on some passing plays, right?
Yeah.
It didn't necessarily show up in the yardage. There were a couple pass interference calls they drew. Had the big one to Jerry Jeudy and touchdown. Russ still threw 3 touchdown passes, even though he didn't have all that many completions or passing yards. But you're right, they dominated this game on the ground. They won at the line of scrimmage. The offensive line played a great game, and it also helped that they were able to chew up time of possession. I know in the third quarter they were on the field for more than 11 minutes. The Chiefs only had the ball once and weren't able to score, and helped them pitch a second half shutout, helped them get this win. That can maybe be their identity, and I know it has to change from week to week sometimes, but if you show you can play this type of football against the Chiefs, it's going to give you a chance to win. The run game was big tonight.
Yeah, Aric, you mentioned this earlier. Despite the weather tonight, Broncos country was electric. You could really feel the juice out here tonight.
Yeah, it was good, and these guys were loud when the Broncos needed them, and I think everybody enjoyed. This team has talked about it doesn't matter ending the streak, and it's just 0-1 this season, but certainly to Broncos country, it matters, Sid, that they were able to go out here and end this, and the Broncos have a winning streak now.
Yes, they do. Phil, we'll head inside the locker room here in a few minutes to talk to some of the players, but until then, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. I bet that stadium was rocking today, Nick. What does this victory mean?
This victory means a lot. One, that now you can finally say you defeated or you slayed your giant, which is Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs. So now we can put that streak to the side. But here's what it also does. I mean, when you talk about Sean Payton, when he talks about this streak, he wasn't a part of this streak. He inherited this streak. But now, the true culture of Sean Payton is now showing its face, and what a way to kick it off with a win against a team and a quarterback and an organization you've had a difficult time defeating. So the Sean Payton era finally starts with a victory against his nemesis.
Does it feel like this team maybe is turning a corner here? I mean, can a win like this do that for the Broncos?
Absolutely. A win like this changes so much because think about the confidence level in this team. In Kansas City, the Broncos only scored 9 points offensively. Talk about turning the page around on the Kansas City Chiefs. So now the momentum going into a bye, knowing as though you have Buffalo Bills coming up after the bye, it gives you a certain amount of confidence knowing as though this was a team last year that won the Super Bowl and you defeated them. You know what it's like? It was like a scene from a Rocky movie when he's fighting Clubber Lang. That's exactly what it feels like. And when that opponent finally hits the canvas, you get that 10 count. Now you can throw your hands up and celebrate. So it's like one of those moments in Rocky.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think you talked about it not being this team's streak, but some of the guys in the locker room talked about it and said, hey, we know that this is important for the fans. The Broncos had their first home win last week. They said they want to give the fans another thing to celebrate. And, yeah, it does feel like maybe this team is starting to come together as one team.
Yeah, it is, because when you think about it, when was the last time the Broncos had back-to-back wins? Not just beating Kansas City, but back-to-back wins. That's 2 wins in a row. And for 3 weeks in a row, we've seen this Vance Joseph defense that so many people criticize both locally and nationally start to turn things around. You count them 5 turnovers. Justin Simmons with his 6th career interception against Patrick Mahomes. Man, pat on the back for that one for sure. So I guess all those individuals who criticize his defense at Vance Joseph, I guess you deserve to give Vance a pat on the back for this one.
Yeah, exactly. First time they've won back-to-back games since week 2 and week 3 last season. So maybe this Broncos team is starting to turn the corner a little bit. Here's what the head coach, Sean Payton, had to say at the podium.
It's an important game for us, and it wasn't streak-driven. It was important for us to play well before the bye. You know, getting to our 3rd win. You know, we dug ourselves in a hole. Obviously, we're playing a good team. But I honestly, and I told you guys during the week, not once has it come up, and you know, I recognize there are a few players that have gone through that time frame, but when you have a new roster, you know, the focus was really on this game, and I thought we did the things you do when you win. We were +4 in the turnover battle. We rushed the ball better than they did. I thought we defensively did a fantastic job with their offense and a tough offense. And we didn't have the sack production, but we had a lot of hurries. And I felt like we did a good job of keeping him off schedule. Offensively, I mean, we really felt good coming into this game with our plan. You know, you're always frustrated because I felt like it was one of those games where we could score a lot, but I was pleased with how we ran the ball. We had some big drives, and then in the kicking game, you know, the turnover on that hurried up punt was big. So there were a lot of things to look at that were positive. We're going to play in bigger games than that, but it is a division game, and I'm glad we won.
That's Broncos head coach Sean Payton. We are back in studio. Phil Milani alongside Nick Ferguson. The Broncos beat the Chiefs 24-9. Nick, on the offensive side of the ball, it was all about ground and pound.
Yeah, it was all about ground and pound, and the way I look at it, let it rain on them like windshield wipers, and that was kind of the idea with this run game. Establish that because the footing was a little slippery, but it's the best thing you could do for your quarterback and playing in front of your home crowd. Get the run game involved. They executed, and once again, man, Javonte Williams. What more can you say about this kid, man? Carrying the load, talking about being RB1, he is now bona fide RB1 for Broncos country.
27 carries, 85 yards for Javonte, and they were like pounding runs. I mean, you saw in the fourth quarter there, it was starting to wear on the Chiefs, and they were dominating the time of possession. That Chiefs defense was out there for a long time, and that's sort of the key playing the Chiefs, right? Keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, you have to play keep away with Patrick Mahomes, and I know he was getting a little frustrated standing on the sideline, watching his defense being dragged down the field, but this is what we call having complementary football. Special teams involved, the offense, and then the defense did their part as well. But yes, anytime you can slow the pace of the game, running the ball, and now just kind of being physical, that's exactly what you want. But once again, Phil, we haven't seen that type of football around here in some time.
Yeah, 40 carries for the Broncos in total, 153 yards on the ground. Russ did have all 3 touchdowns today, so he still got his fantasy points for sure. But the Broncos ran the ball more than they passed it against the Chiefs, and really were able to execute what they wanted to do. I mean, that was a plan going in, and they were able to do it against the Chiefs.
Yeah, they were, and I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about this. How about Jerry Jeudy?
Oh.
You know, setting up that, I think it was a 39-yard reception, and he went up to go get it. And then he followed that up with a toe drag swag in the corner of the end zone. That's what you like to see from your young receivers. Like I said before, this guy is not washed. The quarterback is not washed. When you execute, great things can happen. And it was on display today.
Yeah, it was fun seeing them get to celebrate a little bit and have a good time out there. Here's what Russell Wilson had to say after the game.
Yeah, I mean, every win in the National Football League is a good one. It feels great, but this one meant a lot. You know, winning matters, and this one meant a lot. Obviously, I know there's been a lot of tough times over the years here with the Chiefs. It's a really good football team on that side. Obviously, they're champions, everything else, but we had a great week of practice. We knew that we could come out and win this football game and play great in front of our fans, and just to win, beat the Chiefs, at home in front of our fans, and just in front of Broncos country. And just the crowd was amazing tonight. They brought us that extra energy. Guys made plays on defense. Guys made plays on offense, special teams. It was an amazing team effort, and there's nothing better than winning.
Now let's talk about the other side of the ball a little bit here, Nick. They held the Chiefs to just 9 points, kept them out of the end zone, and forced 5 turnovers today.
Yeah, the last time the Chiefs went without a touchdown, I think it dates back Week 7, 2021, playing against the Tennessee Titans. But for the Broncos to do it, magnificent. I mean, the pressure and the turnovers were falling through like coins in a couch, and it was great to see those guys get out there and play. And turnovers, they come in bunches. Once you get the first one, it builds that level of confidence upfield, and then the next one starts to come, the next one started to come. And last year, when we saw this defense being a top-rated defense, that is something that they did often, they did well. We didn't see it until this game, but hey, what a great time in the season to now start to have that turnover bug, and great for the defense.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, we found out he was feeling sick this morning. He had been doing IV fluids and stuff like that. Later in the game, got a gash on his non-throwing hand. So the Broncos were really getting after him, making his day really tough out there. It was cold, but still, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you still kind of feel like, okay, when is it going to drop? But it just never did. The Broncos got after him all day.
You know what? That was the funny thing, being at the stadium, just walking around, talking to fans, and it was just like, well, you know what? They're still the Chiefs. Yeah. They're still Patrick Mahomes. Anything can happen. I was like, no. I mean, we have been blessed. The cold weather has come in. Halloween is a couple of days away. This is the time for the Broncos to seize the moment and seize the moment they did. So for those 12,000 no-shows who did not come to the game,
Come on.
Hey, shame on you. You should have been there. I expect to see you the next home game.
So you're saying Halloween had something to do with it?
Well, no, it's Halloween, so, hey, you never know. They say spooky
You never
things
know.
happen.
Exactly. Yeah. That's right. That's right. And the Broncos, they just sacked Mahomes 3 times, but it felt like they were getting after him the whole game, and they were making him uncomfortable, running around, and they contained Travis Kelce, too. I mean, he had come in with back-to-back 120-plus yard receiving games, and they kept him under 60 in this one.
Yeah, once again, big shout out to that defense, the players, and Vance Joseph for the scheme. I mean, when I was talking about, well, how do you stop Travis Kelce, and I gave kind of my game plan and my blueprint, everyone's like, you crazy, you can't stop him. The Broncos showed you today exactly how you do it. You don't look back at Patrick Mahomes. You keep your eyes focused on Travis Kelce. You plaster him. He's not going to outrun you. And I have to say, man, look, Fabian Moreau, big check for that dude. But more importantly, Jaquan McMillan.
Oh.
That dude deserves 5 gold stars for the way that he played. I mean, in a nickel position, known as though that's not his natural position.
Yep.
But he was coming up, making plays in the passing game and the run game. This defense is now starting to play the way that I anticipated for them to play. Now, they just have to go into this bye and be ready to pick it up against Buffalo.
Well, let's go inside the Broncos locker room, a celebratory locker room for sure, and check in with Sidney Jones.
Thanks, Phil. We're here inside the locker room with safety Justin Simmons. Justin, the streak is finally over. I mean, a huge win over the Chiefs tonight, and I know you haven't beaten them in your career, so what does this mean to you?
Yeah, it was a great win, great home win. We came into this game expecting to win, confident, and obviously they're a heck of a team, defending Super Bowl champs, and they do so many things well. So I'm just proud of how we played in all 3 phases, and I think that showed today in the win.
Yeah. Talk about all 3 phases. I know you guys have been preaching complementary football throughout the entire season. So what did it mean to really do that?
Yeah, I think that was today's game was the result of kind of playing complete football. I mean, special teams had that muff, and they were able to make that, even at the end of the game there, Trey came down and had a great open field tackle when they tried to return it to get some extra yards. Offense did such a good job running the ball, holding the clock, giving us limited possessions to be out there. And when we were out there, we were rested, we were executing, communicating really well. And, when you have all 3 of those things working in your favor, it's going to almost 9 times out of 10, result in a win.
Yeah, and we got to talk about this defense. I mean, what a dominant performance by you guys. Really shut down Patrick Mahomes in that offense. 5 turnovers, 2 of them by you. I know you recovered that fumble and then an interception. What can you just say about the effort you guys put in tonight?
Yeah, man, it was such a great team effort. And I think communication-wise and the secondary and with the linebackers was the best it's ever been in this game. And, our front was just outstanding. I mean, the way that they were able to be aggressive, but then also, limit Mahomes' scramble ability, which he's so good at. And, you see those guys make plays, week in and week out, no matter who they're up against. And so I think it says a lot about our front and our rush and being able to stop the run and, containing him in the pocket for the pass game. They did such a good job. Yeah.
Justin, I know you guys have that 24-hour celebration rule. Do you guys kind of extend that this week, given the bye and how big of a win this was for you guys? Yeah, no, for sure. I think, I think the bye's coming at a good time. I think, tomorrow I'll watch the film, and then, heading into the bye week, it's a lot of times it's where a lot of self-reflection comes, a lot of self-tape. You look at what went well, what didn't go well, and what you need to do to be at your best moving forward. And so, in that regard, probably watch this a little bit more than previous weeks. But I think the bye's coming at a great time. We'll get guys healthy, and, we'll be able to make this push in the second half of the season. Well, Justin, congrats on the win. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Phil, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Sidney. You got to feel for the guys. I mean, so much heartbreak over the years. They've always played the Chiefs close, but somehow Kansas City gets it done. Not today. 24-9 the final. Nick, you got to be happy for this Broncos team.
Yeah, I'm happy for them. I mean, we've been on this show before, and the kind of idea was like, teams who know how to lose will find ways to lose. Over the past couple of weeks, we've seen this team learn how to win. And this has been somewhat of a learning curve for them, but they have so many young players stepping up. I mean, you see Jonathan Cooper stepping up. Happy to have Baron Browning back, but more importantly, Nick Bonito.
Oh, man, those guys are...
Yeah, I mean, last year it was like, well, we don't really know about Nick Bonito. Will he stay in this league a long time? But look, what a difference a year makes. That young dude is coming off the corner. And I'll say this, look, I never want to see a team part ways with guys, but I think it was the right thing getting away from Frank Clark and Randy Gregory, because I feel personally, this is my personal opinion, it was stifling the growth of some of their young players. Now they get a chance to kind of pin their ears back, pull their hair up, and then just get after the quarterback. And those guys were intricate parts of creating those 5 turnovers today.
And what do you think? You mentioned it earlier in the show, but just having the bye week now, you get to enjoy this for a while and feel good about, I mean, the confidence that a win like this can provide, Nick, it feels like it might have a lasting impact.
Yeah, it definitely has a lasting impact. Just think about, you go into the bye week knowing as though you beat your arch rivals and something you haven't done in 16 tries. Now that is something that motivates you to say, okay, listen, I'm going to take some time away from the game to get my mind right for the long haul, because this season isn't over yet. So a lot of confidence going into the bye week, because nothing, beats going into a bye week with a victory opposed to going to the bye week with a loss.
Yeah.
That's a long, layoff. So this gives them an opportunity to say, you know what, we did something great as a team. Let's continue to keep it moving forward.
So the Broncos now 3-5 on the season, but you got to feel like you could beat anybody now. I mean, that's sort of the mentality is, hey, we beat the Super Bowl champs, our nemesis. You can do it now against anybody.
Yeah, everyone's looking for a marquee win. Like when the schedule came out, everyone's going through the schedule, win, loss, and they picked the 2 Kansas City games as losses. I picked at least the Broncos would split with Kansas City, and they did that today. So
of course you did that. Well, we got to check the tape.
Yes, of course. I picked the Broncos to win this game. But for one, it was one of these moments, man, when you look at it as a player, as a coaching staff, as an organization, to say, look, how do we match up, not just across the league, but within our division? Because if you don't win your division, forget about the playoffs. The Broncos have now taken a step in the right direction. Now, everyone celebrate, but don't celebrate too much, because this still is a long season. So you don't want to start here and then taper off in Buffalo. No, keep that momentum as they plant the flag at Empower Field. Keep that momentum moving forward so you can plant another victory in Buffalo.
Most definitely. I think Sean Payton will get these guys focused, but at least for now, the streak is dead, and we don't have to talk about it anymore. Next year, the first game against the Chiefs, we don't talk about the streak anymore.
Right.
It feels like the curse has been lifted.
That's right. Ding dong, the streak is dead.
Yeah.
So that's the way that I look at it.
And we got Nick Sagan, so yeah, it's a good time around here. All right, well, that's going to do it for us. The Broncos win 24-9 over the Kansas City Chiefs. For Nick Ferguson, I am Phil Milani. You've been watching the Broncos Postgame Show.